Coming into the show right now, we have the one and only Karolina Janicka. She is a consultant with VML Enterprise Solutions. They work with the just biggest companies that exist on planet Earth, like the Coca-Colas of the world. Ever heard of them? They just own a few things. The Wendy's of the world, Windex, Ford Motor Company.
Crazy.
Some of these people and what they are doing on the interwebs. I have heard that she's helped many people get over to Shopify Plus from whatever other partner they would be using. Why would they be using that? I don't know, but I have heard that she's helped a number of these folks get over to Shopify Plus. We must bring her inside of the show right now. Everybody, welcome Karolina Janicka of VML. Get in here.
Hello.
Hello, Karolina. Hey, thank you for making the time to join us today.
Of course, big fan of the show, so I couldn't pass up the opportunity.
Oh, don't say any more, Karolina. Don't. We just can't take.
Yeah, whatever.
I love the hat, love the background, love the vest.
Let's go.
Everything about it. Yeah.
Love that. And yeah. I will say, all of us over here, maybe especially in the South, there's a weak spot for your kind of English accent, whatever it is. You could say anything basically, Karolina, and I would be fixated. I would listen.
How about perhaps. Do you like pork chops?
I'm interested. I'm interested. Let's talk pork chops.
Should we just skip ecom? Let's talk pork chops. I'm vegan as well, so it would be very
even better.
I love it.
Karolina, I'd love you for those who don't know, I'd love you to back up the truck a little bit and just give everybody context on you, the kind of clients that you have worked with, etc., and what you guys do over there at VML and more.
Yeah, so just kind of going back, I guess now kind of almost 10 years, I started working for a small Shopify brand. They had just migrated to Shopify. I came in fresh out of university, went into their customer service team, kind of answering the phone. And I was in the back end of Shopify 10 years ago when it was just starting out, and it was a really exciting time. But we didn't know what we were doing, and the agency we worked with didn't know what they were doing. We were just all kind of starting out. So it was a really fundamental time for me to really get to grips with Shopify and learn everything by just trying and doing and breaking a bunch of things and then figuring out how to fix them. And yeah, it was a really exciting time, which then led me to kind of move into the agency world purely to see more brands, more verticals, understand how a lot of different businesses operate on this very unique platform. So, I worked with We Make Websites for a few years as an account strategist and built really strong relationships with brands that were migrating from these massive legacy platforms that came with massive monthly bills to Shopify, which was, relatively cheap at the time in comparison. I mean, it still is. And they could just do everything that they wished, but just didn't know how. I also worked with Astound Digital, another big agency, and I actually helped set up the Shopify practice here in the UK. So I came in purely as a Shopify consultant and kind of help decide how we were going to sell Shopify to kind of those initial enterprise level clients before Shopify was an enterprise platform.
Whoa!
And yeah, how we were going to deliver that, how we were going to scale it, how we were going to get those clients to grow, from 3 to 5 million to 10 and more. And yeah, it was a really, really exciting time. I've done some freelancing, working with different brands. I've worked with a few kind of smaller agencies as well, again, bringing that knowledge from that bigger scope of selling Shopify to smaller brands. And yeah, I'm now at VML Enterprise Solutions as a consultant. And I'm also helping with the Shopify practice here and kind of understanding how we sell Shopify, not just as an enterprise platform, but also as a tool itself. I think Shopify is more about the methodology and the practice of it than just a platform. You really need to buy into the ease of use of Shopify before you actually buy the big ticket platform. Because if you're just expecting kind of a replacement or a sleeker Magento, that's not really what you're going to get. You need to adapt to how Shopify does things, and millions of businesses do, and they thrive. So why not?
Wow. Could
That's
you
great framing.
That is great
Oh,
framing.
thank you.
Could you talk to us a little bit earlier on about those conversations and how you would sell to an enterprise client when Shopify really wasn't, that level yet? How do you start those conversations? How do you go through those conversations so that migration actually does happen?
I think those conversations should, I mean, they used to happen in the same way I would always sell Shopify. I would be asking what problem they're trying to solve by migrating
Mm,
a platform,
yeah.
and why they're trying to solve that problem. Like, is it, is it too expensive? Does no one know how it works? Do you not have enough people to manage your existing platform? And then understanding and correlating to how Shopify can solve those problems. Because really, Shopify has always had the capability to be an enterprise platform. There's just certain adaptations and compromises that you need to make, which in the
Mm,
end will bring a massive ROI in terms of automation, possibilities of building on seamless front ends and development, as well as being able to expand your store globally, right? So it's not really necessarily are you enterprise or are you not enterprise for me. I think it's what problem are you solving, and is Shopify the right tool for that? And 99% of the time it is. You can really solve a lot of the problems that I've encountered over the last 10 years with either Shopify itself or something that you can run on Shopify or some way that you can customize it.
Wow.
I find this fascinating, Carolina, because I'm of the mind now that I don't know why everybody isn't on Shopify. I don't. I don't.
I
Yeah,
ask
You know,
we both
myself that
are.
question every day.
Let's go.
as in terms of platforms and partners, I mean, they're always shipping. They're always
Mhm.
shipping, and I know for many years they had the kind of ethos and the kind of arming the rebels,
Mhm.
type push. We are enabling entrepreneurship, and there's a lot of ground up talk, but the real story is like you're saying. I mean, now it's like the Victoria's Secrets of the world, and it's like everybody's
Yeah.
everybody's moving. These giant global brands are over on Shopify. I'm kind of more of the mind. I don't know why everybody wouldn't be there. Are there things that you run into where people are like, "Hey, we're trying to solve this problem with X Magento or whatever it
Mhm.
is," and you're kind of like, it's not like you're trying to push them or anything, but you might be thinking like, we can do that with Shopify over here. Have you ever even thought about it? Do you run into this kind of thing?
All the time. And I don't necessarily think the reason for them not to go with Shopify is the technology itself. I think quite often it's down to the mentality of the business
Yeah, yeah,
and
I agree.
what they're looking for, and how are they looking to adapt to grow into the future, to grow into the next 10, 20, 30 mil that they want to make, right? If they're not willing to make any compromises, no platform is really going to solve all of their
Yeah,
problems. Quite
yeah,
often it tends to be, well, we've always done it a certain way, so we couldn't possibly change this one process because it
yeah,
runs the whole side of our business, and we just can't even begin to think about unraveling it. And it's like, well, that's always going to be stagnant, whether it's on
yeah.
Shopify, whether it's Magento. If you don't unravel that, Shopify gives you the opportunity to clean slate and look at everything and look how you operate your business and adapt to things that have proven to work for, again, millions of businesses. I mean, look at Gymshark, Represent Clothing. They're kind of
Exactly.
homegrown brands from the UK that started on Shopify and have continued to grow on
Yeah.
Shopify and with Shopify and grown
Yeah,
to be multi-million dollar international businesses, right? So it is possible to run a huge enterprise
totally.
business on that platform. You just need to know where the limits are and where you're willing to push yourself. If you're not willing to change anything about how you run your business, you probably shouldn't be changing your platforms anyway. That's
Totally
what I think.
custom. Totally custom.
Yeah,
Heads
just
up
go
and down.
totally
That
Oh,
sounds
custom.
horrible. That sounds
Get a team of
horrible.
50 developers just building every single day
Oh
every little feature you
gosh.
need, right?
Oh
But no one
gosh.
wants
That's
that because it's not
no.
sustainable. It's really expensive. So
Yeah.
I think the most difficult conversations are with brands and kind of operators that want to push themselves and want to go out, that want the new technology because it's new and exciting, but then they, as soon as they run into a little bit of, oh, we might have to change this, or we might have to adapt this process, or maybe the team is going to have to do things in a certain way.
Yeah.
So, oh, well, if that element is difficult, the next 6 to 12 months of building this thing is going to be
Oof.
heartbreaking for you,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
you need to adapt, and it's any technology, right? You adapt as it grows, as it evolves, and you change how you operate within it. I mean, the iPhone I had 10 years ago is very different to the one I have today, and
Fair.
God knows I've hated a lot of the iOS updates, but you move forward, right? Because otherwise you
Yeah.
get left behind.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Totally fair.
I love
Totally
that.
fair.
Could you talk to us a little bit about the work you're doing right now at VML, and kind of just sprinkle on to, their legacy of doing incredible work for incredible brands? We mentioned it a little bit before the show. Coca-Cola, I mean Wendy's, Windex, Ford, just crazy behemoth brands. Could you talk a little bit about what you're doing with them now?
Yes. I can't really talk brand specific at the moment,
Totally.
but
Totally.
we are working on quite a lot of really exciting leads and exciting projects with different types of brands and sizes. We have some global corporations that kind of buying Shopify brands or buying small brands and see Shopify as the tool to get them to
Yeah.
that next stage, right? So they need a partner that can help them operate that, help them run it, help them evolve that into what it's next going to be. There is also some brands that are just bringing their whole operations onto it, multiple brands on
Yeah.
the Shopify platform and running it with only a few teams, where really, if you had a Magento store for every single brand, you would have to have a whole team of people just running each individual
Oh,
one differently and doing their own operations, because you just couldn't scale it into one thing that operates in the same way. But on Shopify, it's the same framework. We're just changing how it looks and what products it has, and it makes it a lot easier for that brand to look at everything globally and go, okay, this brand is performing really well, and benchmark them against each other as well, because they know that operational level is sorted, it's functioning, it's working.
yeah.
They can then look at the next thing. So it's a really exciting time, and especially because of the collaboration with Shopify, and obviously Shopify kind of announced they were an enterprise solution. I think it was last year, a couple of years ago. So they are shifting their perspective as well, where, as you said, they used to be the kind of do-it-yourself entrepreneur
Right.
tool of choice, but they are really growing into that kind of platform for everyone and every business as well. And I think it's a really exciting time to be part of that partnership for us, as we kind of move forward with that and figure out how every single brand can be on Shopify.
Wow.
Hey, Carolina, where are people coming from to
That's a great
Shopify?
question.
Is it
Oh,
Ooh.
is it Commerce Tools? Is it Magento? Is it Big C? Is it WooCom? Like, when you like talk
Squarespace.
with people, like where are they coming
I've
from?
worked with some Squarespace businesses, but I mean, honestly, I kind of lose track now, and it kind of almost doesn't matter anymore, because I know we can bring it over and make it work.
Mm.
I would say 5 years ago it was 90% Magento. It was getting too slow, too big, too expensive. So everyone was shifting from Magento. And I think a lot of other platforms are now also kind of feeling that pull, where brands are going, well, why does this take 6 months and
Yeah.
cost hundreds of thousands of pounds when I could just install an app on Shopify for it? I think
Yeah.
that the question of ease is what's kind of triggering people to think about maybe things could be done differently. So I think there is a real mix. I mean, I've also done a couple of migrations where people had a Shopify store set up, grew it, but it kind of became a bit of Frankenstein monster, and then they just wanted to start fresh. And so it's
Yeah.
Shopify to Shopify, right? And that
Yeah.
was one of the craziest one when I first encountered it, because I was like, how could you have possibly gotten this wrong? But I guess you still can, and it was then migrating them onto a fresh new store, making sure that it was seamless, making sure that it seemed like it was all exactly the same, but operationally it was much more lean, it was much more efficient, and much better organized. So yeah, I would say it's a real mix, and I think there's going to be more and more kind of big hitters coming out of the woodwork, where brands are actually going, you know what, we actually can grow better and quicker with Shopify, and yeah, they can.
Juicy.
I ran into a brand when I was visiting an agency in Portland, and I was talking with them, and I'm like, I don't recognize that back end at all. like, what is that? And he was like, oh, this is a fully customed one dev has made every single line of code for this. It's one guy. He's built every single line of code manually. And I looked at that and I was flabbergasted. What advice or what would you say to that guy? Because I shook him and I was like, what are you doing? Like
What
this,
are we
if
doing?
that guy gets hit by a truck tomorrow, what happens to your business? And I was beside myself. Have you ever had that happen to you where you're just like, why are you putting
Yeah,
your business like this?
yeah. During my freelancing career, I worked with a brand that had actually been built on a Drupal backend, and I had to Google what that was.
All right, there we
When he
go.
Not
told
good.
me, I
There we
think
go.
it was way before my time. And yeah, this one guy built it for him 15 years ago, had not updated it
Oh.
since. And the founder just emailed him the content for the homepage every time he wanted to change it. And he had a spreadsheet that he had to email him with product updates. And I was just like, how is this efficient in any way? I was like, well, this is how we've done
Yeah.
it for 15 years. I'm like, okay, well, I mean, if you want to grow your business, wouldn't it be better if you spend those 3 hours that you spend putting together that spreadsheet and that email with all the updates into something else, into getting more
Yeah.
customers, interacting with your existing customers? And at that point, he was like, well, yeah, it would be nice to have more time. I'm like, cool, give me all those spreadsheets and I'll make them disappear. And when we kind of started setting it all up and migrating everything, the ease of it was he was just beyond himself. He just didn't understand how kind of it could be so easy, because at any point he could go in and update the homepage, and that was kind of revolutionary. And this wasn't that long ago, it was like a couple of years ago. So I was like, really, mate, like, where have you been, but it was a really lovely experience, because this guy he loved this business that he owned, was running,
Yeah.
and really wanted to kind of take the next step forward. And he was looking to retire in 10 years. So he was like, I need to build this business so I can sell it.
Yeah.
And you're not going to sell a custom built Drupal website that runs on spreadsheets to anyone in the right mind, right?
Yeah.
And it was just, it was more of that he knew he needed to change. He just didn't know how or what needed to change, and he thought that just a new front end would be the answer. But really, it was fundamentally changing how he operated his business, down to how he collected customer inquiries. I mean, they used to just have a phone line and an email and answer every single email. I'm like, okay, well, there's hundreds of these that you could just automate by having an interactive FAQ section,
Yeah.
and that unlocked the whole potential of him actually growing his business for the next 10 years, so he can get to that point and retire to the Maldives.
To the Maldives. Tell me this, Karolina. I'm so bullish on Shopify. To be honest, it's where the majority of my career in e-commerce and D2C and consumer has lived, kind of in the Shopify ecosystem. Not all of it, but most of it. What are there some specific things, be they operationally or what Shopify is shipping? Are there some specific things that make you feel similarly, bullish, excited to bring, customers over? I know for me, the things that they're shipping with Sidekick and with SimGem and various things like this, they just I find them so fascinating. Also, honestly, just Toby and Harley being so personally public, about what they're doing and everything. I mean, to me, there's like a number of points there. But are there some specific things that make you bullish on Shopify and the future of e-commerce?
I think this is going to be, it's not going to be one of those sexy answers where it's like Sidekick is really great. I think the automation opportunity on Shopify is what makes me really excited. Flow as an app, it's a free app on Shopify that every store gets.
Yeah.
You can do so much with that, where you can run most of your operations automatically with it to make sure that everything runs smoothly, right? You can even get it to let you know when it's not running smoothly. And really, not a lot of tools give you the opportunity to build those flows yourself, so that anytime you have a problem, you can immediately go, oh, let me check if I can automate this problem so I don't have to encounter it again. Any other platform is like, well, does the developer know how to solve it? Does the solution architect know how to solve it? Has another brand? And it becomes a whole beast of its own. Whereas on Shopify, you can Google it. That's kind of how I've built 90% of my career. Just Google it, figure it out, talk to the community, reach out to Shopify as well. And then also you can go off and build it yourself. Not necessarily code, but you have the tools to kind of automate your orders, your processing, refunds, product updates, storefront updates. And that's what makes it really exciting, because I think at the end of the day, what the difference between a brand that is kind of just going with the flow and the brand that is looking and growing at the same time is that brands that grow identify things they need to automate before they actually need to automate them. And they go, this is a waste of time, because this person that is doing this task every week could be spending those 2-3 hours doing something more substantial that, a platform or a tool or even AI can't do yet. So let's give them that time. And that's how you grow through your team, through the business that you're building. You can't just do it on your own. You can't just do it with good marketing. It has to be a team effort, right? So if you give your people the time to do the job to the best of their ability by automating the things that a machine can do, you're winning in my eyes.
Let's go. Let's talk about bars right there.
Sage advice. Karolina, tell everybody, we appreciate you making the time to join us. Tell everybody where to find you, where to follow you, where to talk to you. If they're interested in exploring getting over on Shopify, et cetera, they just want to borrow a piece of your brain power. Where do they go and find you and follow you and talk with you?
LinkedIn is probably the best place. Karolina Janicka on LinkedIn. I also do have a website, karolinajanicka.co.uk. So you can always reach out there and find me. And obviously, I'm part of the workforce at VML as well. So if you just want to reach out to them and ask for me, I'm sure someone will put you in touch.
Absolutely. Go do it. We appreciate you joining us, Karolina. We look forward to talking with you again. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.